find out what they want to play. So I wanted to get into this because I've noticed that everyone that I ever encounter on this game is going to be in light armor. Or in medium armor, I should say. Recently, though, I've been noticing that people in light armor are a lot more tankier than me. Probably because, and I'm thinking that it might have something to do with the fact that I'm not. I haven't been playing to get my gear score higher, so my gear score is like 600 or whatever. And every time I get killed, I'm getting killed by people with like 625, everything. So it's just like it's pretty crazy. But with that aside, you'll kind of see it in this. Like they shouldn't have taken me this many shots to kill this guy in light armor. But anyway, that's not what today's video is about. It's about the armor bonuses. Now, the armor bonuses in this game are so low. Like there's so little of them, and there's just really nothing going on, and it makes it hard for like you to balance weapons out at the end of the day. And the reason why I say this is because people will say, oh well, this gun, let's say this gun does a lot of damage to people in light armor, but it doesn't do any damage to people in medium and heavy armor, so it's only good for fighting people in light armor. But my question is what isn't good for fighting people in light armor? I mean, let's be honest. Everyone in light armor is an absolute piece of paper, and there's just nothing that you can really do about it because of the fact that they have to keep swapping these weapons around and messing up all these weapons because they're trying to fix what's actually broken, and that's the armor. Now, I'm not saying that the armor is broken, like it's just a dud deal and that's all there is to it. But what I'm saying is if they were to implement actual bonuses for your armor type, it would make the experience a lot easier for everyone who is playing the game. So I want to go ahead and jump into a screenshot that I got right here.
So right here, you guys can see that wearing light armor, your dodge is a quick roll that covers a lot of distance. You deal 20% bonus damage and 30% bonus healing. While the dodge is a decent amount of distance, it definitely doesn't, in my opinion, account for all of the lost damage reduction. It doesn't, 30% healing looks like a lot, but, if I was gear score 525, that other guy that I was fighting earlier today in the light armor, he would have been 3-tap anyway. So at the end of the day, a lot of that just really doesn't really account for anything, just because like unless someone is legitimately 100% set up in light armor to fight someone else that's in medium armor with just random stuff, then they're more than likely going to lose the encounter every time. Medium armor, while wearing medium armor, your dodge is a quick hop, which is the iframes on this hop start before and after it. You deal 10% bonus damage and 15% bonus healing. Crowd control debuffs you apply last 10% longer. So not only is, medium armor getting 10% extra bonus damage, which I feel like that could maybe be toned down just a little bit. Now, you might not need to tone that down. You might need to tone the healing down. Maybe the damage is fine. Maybe the crowd controlled debuffs you apply shouldn't last 10% longer. Or it's either you have to start dumbing it down even more, or you need to start adding things to the game that make it make sense. Because for now, it just doesn't really make any sense. Heavy armor is while wearing heavy armor, your dodge is a slow sidestep. Your block ability stability is increased by 15%, and crowd control debuffs you apply last 20% longer. This is 100% acceptable. The only problem that I have with heavy armor is the capability of other people putting heavy armor on as a healer setup and just going to town and doing ridiculous damage to people with the Void Gauntlet. And there's a simple fix to this. And the fix is that mages should not be running around in heavy armor. And that at the end of the day, it's just what it is. So maybe implement something to where you do more damage as a mage in light armor. Try to get more people into that play style, and maybe do less damage as a tank. Maybe put something in there to where you do less damage
as a mage in a tank armor. You know what I'm saying? Because that's just the opposite of how, you know, this class is really supposed to be played. You know, when I think of something, you know, heavy armor, it doesn't matter what game I go into. It doesn't matter what game it is. I've never seen a heavy armor mage beat a light armor mage in any scenario. And if you have, then the light armor mage is simply a potato. But in this game, a healer can kill the majority of the DPS that are wearing light armor in this game, and there's just nothing that you can do about it. But, you know, focus is a tricky stat to mess with because you can't put in something like the Void Gauntlet that does huge amounts of damage in with the same thing that self-heals you. It's basically the only self-heal in the game. So, again, that could be a weapon problem, but I don't feel like the weapons need to be messed around with any more than they are. I feel like they need to go into these armor types and figure out what the real problem is and why things aren't snapping together like they should. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys some more screenshots. So manage with me, guys. This is the first time that I've ever actually done a screen record. Like I said, I'm kind of new to like this whole thing, but I'm trying to do better at it. So for other games such as ESO, and I played this game for a long time, we have a light armor penalties and light armor bonuses. And if I were to scroll down in this website, you will see the amount of actual things that your armor actually does. So it's not super just plain. And in my opinion, without the backbone and the structure of the armor in the game, nothing is ever going to be balanced. It's going to be extremely hard to make a game like this competitive, because in a game that's super like plain just across the board, there is going to be the obvious meta, the obvious best in slot, and it's going to be hard for you to actually go in and play the way that you want to play. So each piece of light armor does the following. It increases the damage taken from martial attacks by 1%, increases the cost of block by 3%, decrease the damage done with bash by 1%. Now, when you see these 3%, 1%, all this stuff is multiplied by each piece of armor of that type that you have on at that time. Now, in the past, it used to be to where you would have to have 5 pieces of an armor type on, and it would. But now it's a little different. Now they have it to where you can actually interchange your armor types to be able to play exactly the way that you want. Maybe you want a little bonuses from medium armor and a little bonuses from light armor, but you still won't get the 5-piece armor bonus. But you can swap it up and play however it is that you would like to play. So for these ones right here, Grace, Spell Warding, Prodigy, all of these, oh yeah, sweet, they're right here. So reduces the effectiveness of snares applied to you by 4% for each piece of armor worn, reduces the cost of sprint by 3%. And if you guys just go here, these are just really good, nice things that make a person want to go in and play light armor. Increase your spell resistance by 726. If they were to implement something like that to light armor in New World, so many more people would be like, hey, you know, like, New World is not that bad. Like, a light armor in New World isn't that bad. I'm not going to get one-shot by mages. And it's just, it just makes sense, you know? Like, it just makes so much sense. That would stop a lot of times, because your DPS is in medium to light armor. It would stop a lot of issues like healers just destroying light armor DPS. Like, it would just, it's a you know what I'm saying? So why would we run around nerfing all of these weapons? And the weapons don't need to be nerfed, because it's starting to make the game feel more and more slowed down. It's starting to take a lot more time to kill people. So instead of just going through and just reworking the armor, like, look at these guys, look at these perks. They just make sense, right? So let's go down into medium armor. Now, medium armor is different in ESO, right? So, and I'm not saying just for ESO, you know, other MMOs other than ESO have certain things like this, but I'm more familiar with this, so I'm using this as, you know, my reference point, whatever. So if you guys read here, medium armor has no penalties, unlike heavy armor or light armor as explained by the devs. Now, medium armor is super effective in ESO, but it makes sense because light armor and heavy armor both have their own, things about them. So reduce the cost of sprint by 1%, reduce the cost of sneak by 5%. Now, I know there's really no sneak in this game. Reduce the cost of block by 3%, reduce the damage taken from area of effect abilities by, 12%. So it's not just going to blatantly just make medium armor off the top better than light armor by just reducing its damage taken by everything around it, because if they were to do that, if they were to say, oh well, medium armor, it just reduces all your damage taken from everything, and you still get 15% extra healing, literally you wouldn't see anyone in light armor on ESO, and because those people are just like, they want to be the best of the best, and they know that medium armor is extremely good, and it's definitely best in slot on a lot of builds. But when it comes to, other things like other mages, and now that they implemented the new thing, people are able to go in and swap their armor pieces out and do good and be good. So increases movement speed by 2% while immune to crowd control. That's something that I feel like that they need to implement into this game. I feel like if you get CC'd or if you get stunned like 3 times in a row, that they can't just keep locking you down. If they were to implement something like this into medium armor, that would give medium armor another advantage, but you would have to go through and you'd have to make sure that everything else, is where it's supposed to be. So dexterity increases your critical damage and healing done by 2% for each piece of medium armor equipped. And if you go here, it says agility increases your weapon and spell damage by 2% for each piece of medium armor worn. Now, this is just your weapon and spell damage, while light armor is critical. So, so increases your weapon and spell critical rating. So it's a give and take, so it makes both of them viable. It makes both of them viable in any type of situation, in any way that you want to wear it. And it makes people not have to play one way. Like, literally no one wants to run around in a server full of people in medium armor nerfing all of the weapons because they do too much damage to people in light armor, but they don't do any damage to people in heavy armor, and at the end of the day it just hurts everyone, right? And we just run into the issues that we're having now. Evasion, stuff like this, this is your 5-piece armor skills. Now that's another thing. New World doesn't have stuff like this, so again, like, it's just one of those things where you're just losing out. At the end of the day, you're just losing out. This one has increased damage. Now this is what needs to be implemented into New World, and heavy armor is increased damage taken from magical attacks by 1%. You guys seen that light armor was the exact opposite. Reduce the movement speed bonus of sprint by 1%. Now this is of sprint. I know that there's not really something like that in New World, but again, increase the cost of dodge roll by 3%. Makes sense. Increase the size of your detection area while sneaking by 10%. Makes sense. Reduce, let me see. So when you're in heavy armor, you're actually a lot more tanky to other people who are using what would be in New World considered as strike damage, bleed damage, thrust damage, stuff like that, right? So increase the amount of damage you can block. Now this is by piece, so it will go up. This isn't these. So let's go ahead and give this a look. Where are we at here? All right, so they got this in there. This is the New World physical and spell resistance. They got this in there, except for this one gives you health recovery, which it should. Increase your, and the reason why it should is it just makes it easier for tanks. It makes a tank more a tank and like less a DPS, I should say. So I don't know. I'm watching videos of tanks in OPR just Xing people because there's a line between just doing too much, but the problem isn't there. The problem is in the armor. The problem is because the DPS just don't have anything. Like, there's nothing for a DPS there, and for healers and tanks that do damage, it's easy to make healers and tanks do damage in this game. They just kill everybody because there's no self-healing for the DPS, so they have to rely on one pot that they can use every 20-25 seconds or so. So at the end of the day, it's just, it's too bland. Increases the magic and stamina of your heavy attacks restored by 4%. they need to add this in there. You know, I feel like it would be good, which they have this through, you know, their weapons and stuff like that. So their weapons do, I guess, give you some of that kind of stuff. Increase your healing received by 1%. See, increase your healing received by 1% for each piece of heavy armor worn. And there you go. I mean, if we go back and we look at the stuff that they have in New World, it's just, I don't know. You can agree with me. If you don't agree with me, then I guess you don't agree with me. But there needs to be something going on with the medium armor in New World. It's just too overpowered. And I'm not saying that, you know, like, not everyone wants to play medium armor, you know. And as a light armor user, like I said, if you don't have a healer on you at all times, you know, then you're gonna die no matter what. It doesn't matter what happens. That 10% extra damage isn't really a lot when everything else you fight is an actual tank. So it's just, and tanks that do more damage than you with Void Gauntlet and then just heal themselves to full every 2 seconds. It just doesn't make any sense, and it makes all the competitive players leave. This is supposed to be a PvP game, but it's obviously not. You know, it's just not a friendly environment. It doesn't allow you to really play the way that you should be able to play. The light armor stuff here is just, you know, it just makes sense. You know, it makes it worth using, and that's the problem. This is why everyone is in heavy and medium armor, is because you just can't use it. You just can't use it at the end of the day. But anyway, thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know how you feel in the comments below, and I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.
Oh,